Okay, hi guys. We are having an extremely late hangout today. Um, yeah, it's currently, I don't know, I think it's 11 p.m. Yeah, almost 11 p.m. for me. Yeah, but anyway, welcome to our 21st hangout, and yeah, today's going to be a bit different from what we usually do. Um, yeah, Yeah, so today we are taking a look at building a SaaS trying to build a SaaS in an hour. That's what this whole stream is about today. So, will that be possible? I have no idea, but we're going to try anyway. But before we jump into that, there are a few updates from Leaf. I mean, a few updates in the to Leaf. Okay. So I'm just going to pop up this book because I think I created a new release for pretty much every issue. Where are we going? Um, I think releases. Yeah. Okay. So we had a new release for Leave, thanks to Desmond. Um, Amazing stuff. There was a little bug with base part. So if you had, do I have an editor open? I hope I do. Let me just pop this up. Yeah, so if you had a base path kind of like this, like app set base path, like if your application is in a subfolder or something, like something like that, you'd have to access all your routes on your application slash something, like that kind of thing. But Leaf was allowing you to kind of misspell the base path, and that would kind of fill it. Yeah. So this issue has been fixed now. So just a minor patch, V 1.4.1.2. What else was done? HTTP got a new release that allows you to upload multiple files at the same time. So if you had like an input where you could multi-select, like request upload now allows you to upload all of them at once, which is pretty cool. And then LeafFS got an update also to file uploads that generates a dynamic URL for you. So I'm just going to pop up the documentation here, which also got updates today, by the way. So there are a bunch of new sections, bugs fixed, stuff like that. Section. Anyway, so a bunch of new things, the UI, a bunch of documentation pages updated, like the FS documentation has been updated. That's for like the file uploads. And then there are also some updates to schema, which I'll be talking about probably next week because they are not yet ready. But yeah, basically these updates will allow you use PHP inside your schema files instead of just the syntax, which kind of causes issues. So anyway, bunch of updates here, uh, more examples, better descriptions for methods you can use and stuff like that, basically. So just a whole lot more detail in the schema documentation, and we'll be adding more. And next week, hopefully by next week, we'll have the schema feature ready, so you can kind of just, like generate, for example, with seed, generate them using PHP if you find this limiting. So it's kind of like an add-on to schemas. Um, yeah, back to FS. File system, file upload. Okay. So yeah, you have documentation for uploading multiple files, all of that stuff done. And then now you get a dynamic URL for everything you upload. So you just call file URL. And if you have your application URL set, you get a full URL this way. So you can just share this or maybe save it in your database or wherever you're taking that to. And then users can just use this. So it just shortens that whole process. So instead of you having to chain your app URL plus the directory uploaded to plus the file name, all of that is just done for you. So you get one file URL. So it's something really small but pretty cool. Yeah, the next thing is with billing. Piggy Bank version 0.2. So you get access to a bunch of billing middleware, which has also been documented. So billing middleware, you have billing.subscribe. So if you want to protect a page, make sure only subscribed users can access that page. Or billing subscribe with a plan name, so you can get specific. Make sure um, maybe people only subscribe to a particular plan. So if you have multiple subscription tiers, you can make sure that a page is only accessible by one particular type of subscription tier or something like that. Yeah, so you can do that. And then there's also the opposite of that. So not subscribe and then not subscribe with the plan name. So basically, you use it exactly how all middleware works with Leaf. You can pass in this way to a function or to a controller. It's basically all the same. Yeah. So that's it. And I think a few bugs were fixed here. The EMV keys were wrong for whatever reason, but that's also been fixed now. So basically a lot of updates and documentation as well, not just the module. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Okay. So that was pretty much Leaf this week, I think. When was this? 14th April, MVC4. Those were updates to the schema stuff, which we've already looked at anyway. Yeah. Okay. So that's Leaf. That's our week. That's how we spent our week. That's what we did this week. So yeah. We mentioned would be trying to build a SaaS in an hour. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's actually do that. So there's this funny thing I've been trying to build, which is kind of like a marketplace, something like Facebook Marketplace, but it's just basically kind of like a social marketplace or something like that. So basically people can just buy and sell stuff, but then there's also a subscription for it because it's supposedly only good deals. So you subscribe to the application. It's a hard paywall, so if you don't subscribe, you can't access the application. Something like that. We'll be using a bunch of features from Leaf MVC, of course. So I mean, yeah, let's just get started with it. What's the time now? 11:01 for me. Yeah, so by midnight my time, we should be done, hopefully. Okay, so I'm just going to get started with the Leaf CLI, Leaf create, and I will name this SaaS. Okay. I'll try to auto update the CLI and stuff like that. Okay. Full stack MVC application. Wait, isn't there actually a new version of Leaf MVC? Are we still on 4.0? Leaf MVC. Okay, I think we are still on 4.0. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Anyway, application starter, yes. So the application starter just generates a dashboard. Um, okay. So basically, that's kind of like what we get. So now it's what we get. So now it's to go through. Um, yeah. Okay. So yeah, this will probably. Yeah, NPM plus. I think I have like very very shitty network right now. So yeah, that'll probably take a while. Um, Okay. I mentioned it's kind of like social marketplace where people post deals, maybe like a used car or something they have which they want to sell, and then people can just buy directly. Kind of. It's going to be an extra simplified version, of course, but basically, it's going to have those are the core features. Um, yeah, and there's going to be a hard paywall, so you have to subscribe for the product before you're able to access anything. Um, yeah, I think that's what we need to know for now. So those are the constraints we are working with. We are going to do every single thing, from generating a wait list to a dashboard, which I mean obviously, and then a landing page. So we're doing everything till the end. Yeah. Okay, this was taking way too much time. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't timed out already. I think my connection might be like very, very terrible. But no worries. You can always um reinstall this stuff if it fails. You know, like the project is already created, so you can run PHP leave scaffold auth, and then it will basically just install all of this stuff for you, and then run PHP leave scaffold auth, and then it will do exactly this. So it's not something that's tied directly to the CLI. It's not something that's tied directly to the CLI. You can still access it even without it. It's just pretty, you have to type the command in yourself. Um, yeah. Okay. By the way, if at any point you have any questions, please just put them in and I will get to all of your questions, suggestions. If I miss anything, which I probably will, just drop it in here as well. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it looks like React was able to install Tailwind together with all of the React stuff. I would do that. I have no idea. Uh, yeah. But anyway, this is the client side stuff. It now has to Composer packages installs are super fast, unlike with npm. Oh, okay. Let's see. In the meantime, are you talking about which I haven't talked about? I don't think so, because I think I've pretty much given up all of the updates we had from last week and a few weeks ago. Uh, da, 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 da. Yeah, I think we have pretty much talked about all of the updates we had. Yeah. Okay. This is okay. And I keep on forgetting to update my npm version. Anyway, perfect. Yeah, packages installs are always really fast. Love it. Okay. So yeah, all of this stuff is just to set up port and all of that stuff. And then this is the server side part of inertia and beats, all of that. I don't know if we have another npm install coming up. Hopefully not. Anyway, okay. Anyway, I don't think there's anything I've missed on this one either. Um, this doesn't fix. Oof. Okay. Finally, 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 we have this done. So I can CD SaaS and open this up in VS Code, and we can finally get started with the building. My goodness, I have a pretty terrible headache right now. Uh, okay. Let's see. So yeah, once you install Leaf MVC, you have this, which is This is not the base setup because we've installed a bunch of things. We have Vite here, running Tailwind, Inertia, and then Vite itself, with a bunch of things here that we probably wouldn't need or we don't need. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Controllers, database models, blah blah blah. I am going to leave serve. Okay. And it's going to start two servers for me as usual. And it says unknown database SaaS. I think last week I mentioned that whenever you create a Leaf MVC project, Leaf sets up this dummy connection here using your project name or a version of your project name, which is legal in BioScale standard. So that involves things like underscore instead of hyphens and stuff like that. But basically, it's your project name. And then by default, you have a few for you. So this app layout you have here, which is just one file, by the way. This allows you change the layout from sidebar to header, basically. Yeah, and then you get pretty much all of it in. But then it's not global. You kind of customize that header page you're using. Anyway, okay, so this is our actual starting points now. And as I said, I really don't want to do any UI stuff right now because that's pretty annoying. So I kind of did generate a bunch of things using Windsurf, which I'll just kind of replace in a bit. But I think for starters, we are pretty good. Okay, so let's see. What we actually want is I don't know. Maybe just first of all start with allowing us to post stuff. I think that would be the best place to start from. And for that I think I have stuff only. We're only going to copy and paste UI stuff. Yeah. So I was playing around with this earlier. So I kind of have some stuff I can do. So we're going to start with this. Actually just this little part here. And then we're going to do more as we need to paste this here and then add my closing div. Okay, we don't have this yet, that doesn't really matter. This yet, that doesn't really matter. Let's just start with, I've noticed if you're using React or Vue, I don't know if Svelte, but then some stuff like auto imports may not work directly. So to fix this, you can PHP leaf scaffold .cn, which was actually added to help you. It creates files like your JS config and your components of JSON, so you can use the regular .cn registries. But then because the JS config is present, your application will know where stuff are located, so you can have auto imports working. Might have to restart your server. Okay, so now I should be able to auto import stuff. And we have a bunch of components already created for you. As I mentioned, we didn't want to flood your project with way too many stuff. So everything is pretty much custom. Okay. Avatar fallback. Going to import this too, get initials. Oh, and by the way, speaking of this auth here, so you notice we are using an auth.user.name. This auth variable here is available in all your inertia pages. So whether you're using React, Vue, or Svelte, it's available anywhere. You can just import it like this as a prop, and it will just work. It'll just be automatically populated. Okay, so auth user.name would give us the current username. So it is kind of modeled after Leaf's auth object. So the same way you do something like auth user name, it's pretty much, kind of like the exact same thing, except that this is JavaScript. As close to the PHP equivalent as possible. So currently this is what we have. Doesn't really do anything, but on click, it's going to open up a model, which we have here, which I'm going to copy again. But then I'll um, explain as much as possible. Anyway, so useless state stuff. Show post model. Just going to import the state. Okay. Let's show post model. But we don't have the actual model, so let's just go steal that. Okay. Do I need any other pen? I do. Okay. Um, components. Where was it? Okay, components shared. So this is pretty much where you'd find everything we created for the dashboard. We have shared components like the avatar, which we imported, breadcrumbs, drop-down menus, typography stuff, just random things, and then form items as well. We try to keep them, as I mentioned, as few as possible, so we don't bloat your starting point. Okay, so I'm just going to paste this in here, and then we can import the model. Okay, so now on what I missed, I actually thought that would be installed for me. So I can npm my headless UI, and that's probably going to take about 20 years. Anyway, but in the meantime, let's just look at what we have in our create post model. So the important stuff here, this stuff. So we are using inertia. This is not Leaf stuff, by the way. This is just from inertia. So whether you're using Laravel or a different framework, syntax would be exactly the same. We are using the inertia form, which is really, really amazing. Probably like the most well-built piece of software I've used in a while. Anyway, yeah, so we are just initializing our form here, and then basically on submit, we submit to, I think I'll name this, should I keep post or should I make it product? I don't even know. Maybe I'll just make it product. Yeah, so on submit, we make a post request to /product. And since we have images, Inertia would automatically make this a form data kind of request, like use form data instead of just raw JSON. And that's all done automatically. Let's see, what else? The rest is just basically using our form components to load up the images, load up the rest of the form context. So value from our form on change, basically. Annoying React stuff on change value. Yeah. So basically, the entire form is handled by the inertia form helper. So we really don't need to do anything much. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully by now this should be done in the test. So on click, we should see a model pop up, and that did not pop up. What happened? Okay. Something broken? No, nothing is broken. So what's happening? Right, I didn't actually trigger the model. Okay, so I have to set show post model to true. Okay, and now that actually breaks because input is a void element and should not have children. That is from our model. So let's go back to the model component. I think I heavily modified some of these components. Anyway, yeah, I think I heavily modified these guys. So I usually use components like this. I think they're called polymorphic components in React. I actually haven't done this in quite a while, so anyway, bear with me if I forget their names. Yeah, something like this. And then I can just feed this here, I think. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I usually make my components polymorphic. The reason I didn't do this for the default components we create is everybody has different use cases. And for me, polymorphic components work better just because I can do stuff like, let me look for an example. Yeah, so I can create kind of like an input as select. So it just creates a select instead of a regular input. The reason I do that is so I can maintain the same component, like same styling, same behavior for everything. So even though it's a different kind of input, it still just works the same. Yeah, that's why I actually prefer polymorphic components. But people have different use cases, and I don't want to force people into doing any kind of weird, shady stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's just by the way. How long have we used? So we kind of have just about 25 more minutes left. Anyway, so now I have to create a route handler for the slash product route, and I can do that with PHP Leaf. I think G. What am I generating first? I need to generate a controller. I need to generate a model, and I need to generate a schema file. There was a shortcut for this. I don't really remember what it was. I think like product and I think -A. But then I don't remember if it was for models or it was for controllers. Yeah, it was probably for controllers. Controller, product, not generate files, templates generated. Yeah, anyway, let me just generate this manually. So we need one for a schema to generate schema. And then we need another for, let's see, controller model. Yeah, we need a model. So G model. Oh, okay, model is already generated. So why did it say it couldn't generate? Anyway, um, the model schema file controller, and then probably route, and we'll deal with the route. Okay, so I am going to head over to my routes. So up routes, and I'll just pop it in here. So I can just say something like up post. Where are we posting to? Product. Was it product or product? I actually don't remember. Product. Okay, weird, but anyway. And then product controller at handle. I normally use at handle for when I'm working on controllers that have only one method. I just usually use at handle. So now we can open our products controller, and what we are going to do first, I'm going to rename this to handle because that's what I selected. So we need to do a few things. We need to do a few things here. We need to validate the data coming in because you always validate user data. Users would always try to do weird stuff. And then we upload the images to whatever storage. And then what else do we do? Yeah, we save the data we got in the database, and then we just redirect. So validation is going to look something like this. Whenever you validate data with Leaf using request validate, it will return all the data that was validated. So yeah. The data we are validating is all of this information here. So we have like a title, which is a string. I don't think I would put any restrictions on it. We have a price, and I'll just set that to numeric. Okay. What else? Location string. This is why I wish Copilot would actually just do all the typing for me. The location string, category string, everything is a string pretty much. Um, Location string, category, condition, condition. There we go. And then description, also a string but optional. So by the way, Leaf's validation sets everything to required by default. So if you need something to be optional, as in the user may pass it in or may not pass it in, you just set that to optional. So the validation will only apply if it's passed in. So in this case, description is optional, and I will skip the image stuff because we'll handle the images separately. Okay, so if the validation fails, request validates return false, so we can just say if not data. So if not data, we response redirect to somewhere with some kind of data. So maybe error, and then we can say request request errors like that. So that will give us all of the validation failures. And then we can just redirect to, I don't know. Usually we want to redirect to the form, but anyway, this is fine for now. How did I configure Ziggy for routes? We unfortunately do not use Ziggy for route. Yeah, that's kind of like yeah, we unfortunately don't. It's something I'm looking into, so we would kind of figure that out. Yeah. So that's still kind of pending. So right now we are not exactly using route names. Um, yeah, but then we'll figure that out. Anyway, so if our validation succeeds, we what do we even do if the validation succeeds? Yeah, we go to file uploads. So file uploads work pretty much just like the validation we saw earlier. So basically, we can just say stuff like maybe data equals okay, so here's the case. We are actually uploading multiple files at once. Multiple files at once. But anyway, uploading is pretty much the same. So we just request sorry, we request upload. And then what we want to upload is under the key images, because that's what we'll be passing in. And then we want to store this in storage path. So storage path, which gives us the path of this storage folder. Right now we're using the file system to store stuff anyway. So storage path, and then I think up public, just so we can kind of tie it to our public folder. Yeah, I think for now I would probably just dump everything in public in there. And then so this will upload multiple images, and then we get all our data in data. But then we would want to get the URLs to save that into our database. Okay, what was that? I think that was like a post controller. So I wrote this thing here. I mean, basically what it does is it just does exactly what we did here, but then it takes the response and then just maps it over, and then we get only the images, because that's the only thing we really care about. Um, so pretty much the same thing. Request, upload, images, storage path, upload, blah, blah, blah. So exactly the same thing. And then we are adding an option here to rename the file if it already exists. So um, yeah, that's basically all. Yeah, this is screaming at me to use the PHP 88, so maybe I should use that. Okay. This actually looks weird to me. That FN is a total downer. Anyway, I'll just keep this. Doesn't really change anything. So we just array map. So we map over stop popping up. We map over the items we get from request upload, which is just an array with a bunch of things, a bunch of those data items. So if we check the documentation for file upload, file upload. Okay, so every single item gives us all of this data. So you can see we are kind of looping through, and that's exactly what we are doing here. And then we're picking only the URL to save that in the database. So nothing fishy going on here. So now we have all of this data, and then what we'd want to do is to save it in a product. So we can just say product, which is a model, by the way. So app models, we import that from app models, and then we say, is it create? But anyway, what we're going to do from here is to just user create, import our user find, and since we are logged in, we can auth ID or auth user ID either work. After we find the user, we are going to have to create a new product for the user, but then we have not set up, yeah, it's not this. We have not set up relationships for products. We have for products either. Okay, so I'm just going to do the schema first. So the YML. Actually, this should be products. Leaf usually auto corrects to the right casing and stuff, but didn't work for that. So anyway, so products, schema files add auto increments by default. They all of that stuff. So we don't need to add any of those. We can just go right ahead with a title string. Should it be unique? No, it should not be unique. I'm just going to pull up my product upload model so I know exactly what I'm adding. Okay. Price is going to be an integer, I think. I'm actually not really sure. Doesn't really matter anyway. So should I make this an integer? Or should I make it a string? What would the front end even be sending? Probably a string. So I'll make it a string, but I can always just do the little math I need on demand. What currency I use then. But MVPs are supposed to be shitty, so let's just do that. These are nullable. I think location is nullable. So type. So yeah, for schema columns, you either use this syntax, which is just like the name and then the type, or you can put the name here and then pass in a bunch of options or properties. So what does Laravel call them? I think they are called modifiers. Yeah, that's what Laravel calls. And for description. Okay. So category and then description. Okay. So what else are we missing? Category, condition, and then I think description. Wait, category, location. Did I do location? Yeah, location, category, description, condition. How did I skip condition? Anyway, so let's just add that condition, just like this. What else? Images. Images would be images. I'm going to use JSON for this one and nullable true. Okay. So now relationships. A product belongs to a user. And then the product has purchases. I mean, would usually want to do that, but do we? Anyway, let's just So let's add a new model for PHP Leaf G model product purchases. I think. Let me just use this case. product purchases or product purchase actually. Okay. Um. Okay. Ouch. 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 Okay. Um. It's. I think we're still good. Yeah. So product purchase is the new model I added. Um. Hold on a minute. Okay. So I did a product purchase just to keep track of everything that we bought. So I mean that's what it means. So I'm going to add. Actually, no, I'm not going to add this here. It's going to be the other way around. So um. Okay. The relationships would be only user, and we're not going to use seeds. So I'm just going to skip right over that. Yeah, so this is our schema file. And to run this, I can PHP leaf db migrate. Okay, db migrate. And I can choose to migrate only products. Because I mean there's no need to migrate all of the other stuff. So this will migrate just products. Um okay. Okay. So good, we have that out of the way. So now we have an actual products table. That's in our database now. So now I can set this up like public function products, and then we return this or has many products. Copilot's dead. Oh, there we go. Copilot is back. Okay. Um, so this has many product class, and I believe we have a product class. There we go. So over here, I will public function user, and yeah, that's exactly it belongs to. And then I will protect it fillable. There we go. Oh, this one is ahead of me this time. Um, I'm just going to verify that we have everything. So title, price, location, category, condition, description, images. Yeah, I think we have everything. I'll just add this guy for whatever reason, but anyway. Yeah. So let's just go with that. Protector fillable done. And then we have our relationship. So now we can do this. We can user find, and then products create like this. So yeah, we can find the current user and then create a product for the current user. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much all we need to do for this part. And then now we have to create a route. I don't know if I actually did create the route because I kind of mentioned it. Okay, we created a route, which is a post to product controller at handle. So what else do we need to do right now? I actually have no idea. Anyway, let me try. Let me actually try. Um, let me actually try running that and see if that works. So we can do this. Upload an image or a bunch of images. What am I selling? Something and price. Okay. Um, condition. Yes. And I'm just going to pop this up so I know what happens. Okay, so that returned at 200, a 303, 200. So that looks like it did work. Yeah, actually looks like it worked. So now our next thing to do is to display a list of products because now we have an example product in a database. And I have no idea if so I have PHP installed locally, so I can just kind of, like test to see what I have. Yeah, so we're supposed to see a SaaS database product, and we have a product in there. Looks like everything is fine. It's not going to go back and then steal a few more things, just UI stuff. we are only stealing UI stuff. We are limiting all of our stealing to UI stuff, nothing more. Okay, so I'll just head back to the dashboard right now, and I think right underneath, like this selector here, we will just paste this in here. And what's going on here is basically we are checking if post.length equals 0, and we obviously do not have post. So to fix this, we need to import post from here. Okay, and then that's definitely going to throw an error because post is that's definitely going to throw an error because post is we are not actually passing posts anywhere. So to actually do that, we have that somewhere in this line, but products, we'll get it from the product model. So we can just say products, or which we usually would not do, but anyway, for this particular test case, let's just do that. Or probably not. I actually don't even remember how this works. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I think so with user, and then we can just get, if I remember right, yeah, the latest. So we're actually not going to pagine it, we're just going to get it. Okay. Yeah, probably don't do this in a real world application, but this is an MVP, so you can just get every single thing. And then we can pass this in. So products, save, and Day.js is not defined. Because I always use Day.js for front-end stuff. By the way, if you don't know about it, Leaf has a date module as well, which is entirely modeled after Day.js, because, I mean, why not? So pretty much everything you do in Day.js is exactly the same as, this. So, and that's our app.jsx. We initialize React, we initialize inertia.js, all of those stuff inside this file. I'll do one thing here. From Day.js, I will import, I think it's like relative time. I really don't remember. Is Day.js done installing? Yeah, Day.js has something like that. And I always have to search the documentation for it. I don't even know how many times I've had to do this. Anyway, okay, there we go. It's a relative time plugin. So Day.js to extend relative time. I'm just going to put this down here. And Day.js plugin relative time, and then import Day.js as well. That's pretty much all I have to do. Okay, now I have to import Day.js on this particular page. So yeah, pretty annoying stuff. Yeah, anyway. Are you kidding? Yeah, we've already added that for you. I think I kind of mentioned that. Okay. What's happening here? Not found. Okay, so yeah, this is the card I just copied. So basically it just shows the product name, the price, where the seller is, stuff like that. So yeah, that's exactly why I copied. As I mentioned, it's just UI stuff I'm copying, nothing more. Okay. Yeah, so we are kind of also adding the image we got from where is that? The image we saved in the database. It's also here, and it's also showing kind of here. I mean, you can add multiple images, which is why I'm kind of like doing this CSS grid stuff. But over here, it's doing a 404, even though I'm pretty sure the image successfully uploaded. Pretty sure. Storage up public post. We see the image here, which I uploaded. So the reason this is not showing is because we need to link. Yeah, basically what that does is it allows, over here we are basically just calling actually have no idea what the link is. Yeah, we are calling application URL slash storage slash post. So basically what that command we just use, which is the link command, just creates on Windows you'd call it a shortcut. I don't know if it's the same thing for cut to this folder at public. So you can access it. Anyone can access it basically. Okay. So now we can create items and let me use a different image. Let's say this is a sticker pack, and we're selling the sticker pack for $2. And Accra is my location. Yes. Okay. The list for sale, and there. Okay. So I guess yeah, basically this works now. So I'm going to log out of this user and log in with a different user or create a new account. Okay. That's gmail.com, ESTING123, ESTING123. Okay, beautiful. So now we have the same kind of card that we saw there, but then we have the user who posted it a few seconds ago. And then this is probably 9 minutes ago. By the way, how much time do we have left? Oh, just 2 minutes. Oh, we weren't able to actually pull that off. What's that? Anyway, we are still going to finish up. What this does is it takes us to a page called /buy/to, which is kind of like the product ID. And then what this would look like is on click, this should probably take us to Stripe. And then yeah, basically that's kind of what it should. So I need to create a new route for this. But before that, I think I have to install Stripe. So we've installed Stripe, and then we have to set our environment variables and all of that stuff, which I think I have in this project. So I'm just going to my dummy Stripe account credentials and paste them in my env here. So leave billing has a publishable key, and it's all in here somewhere. Leave billing, yeah, there we go. So all of this stuff is in the documentation here. Leaf install Stripe, and we are working on Paystack and soon Lemon Squeezy, and as many of those providers as we can fit. So billing on the fly, this is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to charge a user on the fly for an item. I know this so far has been like an overly simplified, demonstration, but anyway. Okay, so now we have to generate this page over here, which is the /buy/ whatever page. So I'm just going to create a new route. Once again, I'll put it here. Probably should not, but anyway. So app, and then this time it's a get request. So app get slash what was it? /buy/ the product ID. So /buy/ the ID. So Leaf allows you to do stuff like this, just like what Copilot is doing. Or you can make sure using regex, regular expressions, that wherever is entered there is a number. And then that's what I'll go with. So I'll call this a buy controller, which is a terrible name to give it. Well, anyway. So now we have to create this buy controller. So PHP Leaf G controller buy controller. Okay. At handle again, and now I open buy controller. And then rename this to handle. And then now what we're going to do here is we're expecting the product ID, right? We're expecting the product ID because that's exactly what's going to be passed in here. So yeah, we kind of have this going on here. So now it's no longer showing as a fall for or probably find or fail. So anyway, you should probably use find or fail, but yeah, it's the same thing anyway. Product ID equals product find. We can also do something like this. If we don't want to use find or fail, which I don't want to use. Okay. So now we have the product. Wait, why am I getting product ID? It's supposed to be product. My bad. Because we already have the product ID. So product ID equals product find, and then from there we pretty much have everything we need to build a user. I'm just going to copy this spot here, and then I'll just paste it in. So billing, once we install Stripe, which we've already done, we have access to Leaf billing, which does all of its stuff, sets up everything for us. I'm using a currency USD description. Doesn't really matter. And then metadata, I can just pass in items, and then items is an array, or it expects an array of other items with, like, I think item with the item name, and then price with like the price, like that. Basically, that's kind of what it expects us to do. So yeah, basically this is it. That's actually all we have to do. So I will what would I do? Yeah, we're actually done here. So now we just to the session URL. That's actually all we have to do. So yeah, let's run this. Undefined array key amount. Where are we missing amount from? Item amount. Wait, is it item amount instead of item price? Okay, let's try that again. And it looks like it's doing something. All right. Customer is not billing ID, is going to the email. Okay, so let's try this again. I passed an empty string for what the heck is happening? Product name, that's supposed to be product type. Was it product title? Probably product title. Yeah, so that's my bad. Quick refresh again. And what must add up to $50? What I do? Oh, right. Why on it am I forgetting so many things? Because we have to get the currency in the lowest possible denomination, which is what we should technically do with all currencies in our application. But yeah, I'm just speedrunning this. So yeah, to fix that, I multiply by 100, so then that gives us the lowest denomination. So for USD, that would be cent, I guess. Okay. Yeah, so we have $2. I hope the product was actually $2. And then we can 424242. That's the dummy Stripe card. 123. Yep. So now this would handle all of that stuff. It's so bright. And then redirect to application. And I actually have no idea where to redirect it. Right. So it redirects to billing callback, which is kind of like the default thing we do. But then if you don't want that, in my case, I actually probably don't. Do I want that? Yeah, okay, so let's just create that. Do I actually have to create that? Probably not. Yeah, so I'm going to change the URL. So Leaf allows you to pass in the URLs key, which is an array, and then you can pass in like a success. Yeah, like a success URL and a cancel URL, like this. But so by default, the success URL and the cancel URL are both billing callback. And the reason we do that is, I mean, they are technically kind of the same. So what happens is you can check if, like, so there's a billing callback, and then you can check if the billing is successful. And then if it's successful, you do what you need. If not, you just handle that. So that's how come by default both of them use billing callback. But okay, so in my case, what I want to do, I want to kind of redirect to dashboard. And then I think I think it's like a session ID equals check out session ID. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So what would that look like? Okay, so now let's just go back to our application dashboard and slash dashboard. I actually don't remember how this works, but I think I've got it. Anyway, so now let's try that again. Buy now. And I just noticed we didn't even add a status, because usually what I would want is to add a status to this. You're not a valid URL, makes sense. What I would want to do to this is kind of like what's this? What was I saying? Yeah, I would want to. Yeah, I've actually forgotten. Totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, let me just fix that up. I think it doesn't automatically chain the URLs if you do it this way. So you probably have to add the entire checkout URL, kind of like this. So with request get URL, which yeah is pretty annoying. But if you want Leaf to automatically do this stuff for you, then you have to set it up in the billing config. Because over here we just assume you are going to enter a specific URL. So I'm just going to refresh this, and this time it will work. But I'm actually not handling the success, which is usually not what we want. But anyway, let's just go with that for now. 1, 2, 3, 6, 20, 36, 1, 2, 3, and then this. Okay, so this is just kind of like a test. Anyway, obviously we'll really want to redirect to a URL where we can kind of handle the payment success. So I mean, right now the payment was a success, or at least it looks like it was a success. Anyway, so that's pretty much the whole idea of like one-time billing. But I mentioned it's going to be pretty much an entire thing where we have the whole paywall for the entire application. So let's jump on that train and then come back here to figure out what we are going to do about this. And to do that, Leaf has just the perfect thing for you. So if we go to our application scaffolds, which we are going to use, we're going to use every single scaffold. We kind of did that last week, but we weren't really building anything last week. Let's actually, since we are building something this week, let's just, do that. Building subscriptions, so we can PHP scaffold subscriptions, and then we get the components like this, which we can just import and use wherever we want to, and we get all of this stuff. So let me just run this command: php scaffold subscriptions, and it also adds a few things for our subscriptions, and then updates our users.yml file. So if I check users.yml, we now have like a new billing ID and all of that stuff. Oops. Okay. Yeah, cool. So what do I want to do now? I want to kind of have like a hard paywall. Like if you're not subscribed to any plan, you can't access my application, which is usually what people do anyway. So first off, we need to set up our billing tiers. So let's go to a file which was just created for us. This is not magic. Leaf created it for us when we run this scaffold subscriptions command. Leaf creates a config billing.php file, And if we scroll down just a little bit, we would find a key. Yeah, my mouse totally busted. Anyway, billing tiers. So this is what we're interested in this time. And we're going to have a starter without any trial days. So basically how this works is you create tiers which users can subscribe to, and all of the information you need is right here under billing with subscriptions. So what keys you can use in your billing tiers. Oh my goodness, what the heck is wrong with my mouse? Let's scroll. Okay. I'll just use my keyboard. Yeah, so you basically have like all of the keys you can use and stuff like that. And then instructions. So basically we are following these instructions right now. Okay. So I'm going to have a starter trial days. I don't feel like giving any trial days to people, so I'm taking that off. And then we're going to bill for like $2 a month, which is like ridiculously cheap. But anyway, so $2 a month for a starter plan, and then we're going to just duplicate this and then create a pro plan. What's going on with my mouse? Okay, just going to, since I can only use my mouse, we duplicate this, and then we're going to change this to pro for teams and businesses. And then instead of $2, it is going to be $5, which is also still ridiculously cheap. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we have our billing tiers. How Leaf's billing works is we really don't want to do anything for you. I mean, we do want to do everything for you, but at the same time, we don't want to do much for you. So we let your billing provider handle everything. So the actual subscription, checking monthly for the payments, all of that annoying stuff is all handled by a billing provider, which is Stripe. But in order to do that, we have to publish all of this stuff to Stripe, so Stripe knows what's happening. So we do that with the PHP Leaf config billing, and then this will publish it to Stripe. It's making an API call right now, which is why it's kind of lagging for a little bit. And then now billing plans published on provider. And then that's pretty much all we need to do. So now we can look wherever we want to display our billing, our paywall, right? Our paywall. In this case, I want to display it on a route called /billing/subscribe. By the way, Leaf also generates _billing, which is kind of like a group of routes for billing. Okay. Just checking. If you have any questions, just drop them down and I'll answer them or take care of them. Anything. So I'll just create a new one, which is a get request. This should actually probably go inside billing because there's a whole billing route group. So /billing/subscribe. And actually it's not going to take in anything, so I don't know. Let me just make this an inertia route. Inertia, and then I will name this subscribe, or should I name it paywall? Just so it's a bit more descriptive. Okay, so basically that creates an inertia route for billing. So if I go to /billing subscribe, yeah, it can't find a route, which is why we have a black page, like an empty page. So I'm just going to PHP Leaf G template, and then what was the name? Paywall. So Paywall, and paywall.jsx was created successfully, but probably not in the right location. So if I go to app views JS pages, I should see a paywall there, and yeah, it's in the wrong location. So I'll just drag it in here, and there we go. Okay, so we have that now. I'm just going to go to my dashboard and then copy a few things like my layout. So I kind of want to keep obviously the same layout for the entire application. So just copy this. Paywall, and then paste this in here. Okay, import layout from right there. Okay, I'll just rename that to layout because I prefer layout to app layout. And then now we have to close this tag. Okay, and then close the div tag as well. And now we have our entire application layout. There we go. Okay, so now on this page, all that we want to do is show our billing tiers. Replace this. We just want to show our billing tiers. That's literally all we want to do over here. And Leaf graciously generates a pricing component for us, which you can just import. We don't need to pass in any props. We save, we refresh, and our billing tiers are right here. I mean, obviously, this looks very, very, very weird. And there are a few, I mean, we can kind of like customize it to match like our actual application. Yeah, so right, I mean, this is what you get by default. That's what you see over here in the scaffolds. It's kind of like the same component, but our layout right now is like very small. Yeah, so when we head over to pricing.jsx, I mean, this is literally everything here. A lot of pretty annoying code, but I mean, basically you have all of the code, so you can modify it, which is kind of what I did for here. As I mentioned, I don't want to do any UI stuff by myself right now, so I'm just going to copy and paste this inside pricing because I made a lot of changes to it, and we have the so basically you have the file here and you can make any and all of the changes you want to it. And then you also get one depending on the front end you are using. So if you're using React, which I am right now, you get a React component, Vue, Svelte, Blade. They all have theirs. So you get the pricing components in whatever front end you're using. Cool. So this is my paywall, but I can still access my application, like without the paywall, which is not what we want. And billing comes with a new feature, which I talked about just before all of this. Okay, so back in billing, which I have no idea, utilities billing. Okay, so I can head over to, I think, billing middleware, and basically just grab this. So head over to app, I think, or no, auth, maybe. I think it's auth. Where would that be? Dashboard. There should be something relating to a dashboard somewhere. Dashboard. Okay, there we go. Definitely not. This is not what we want. Dashboard. We have a middleware here called auth required. I'm just going to replace that with auth subscribed. I mean, technically, we can use multiple middleware. Auth dot, what was it? Auth dot required, right? And then billing subscribe. Quick refresh here. Billing subscribed. A little bug I have to take care of. But anyway, so billing subscribed, and now we absolutely cannot access our dashboard unless we are subscribed to something. So let's actually subscribe to something. So what plan are we going for? Data Pro. Actually, this looks weird. Let me just fix that real quick before we move on because it actually looks pretty terrible. Okay, much better. Okay. Cool. So now let's subscribe to the Pro plan. Continue with Pro and leave us all of this Leaf stuff. And it should redirect us to Stripe for the checkout. Okay. 424242. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3. Subscribe to Whatnot per month so you can see all the data is there. Okay, processing. So this will also redirect to our application, and this time we have a handler for it, or Leaf generated a handler for us. So the billing subscription goes through, and we did not have to write even a single line of code for this, and now we can access our dashboard. Perfect. Okay, so paywall done, subscriptions done. We can actually buy stuff, although we don't have an actual handler for it, which we can just write at any moment. Basically, the core of our application is done. That actually took longer than I thought. An hour, 15, 20 minutes. Okay, so basically that is it. Now let's just do the, you know, not important stuff. So basically we can just use our middleware, fill in subscribe, to restrict access to any other page we don't want to. Like we don't want users to have access to if they are not subscribed. In this case, I did that for only a dashboard, but if you have more pages, you can just pop fill in subscribed on any of those pages, and that would work pretty well. Okay, so now let's go back. Still using this. To launch our application, obviously we don't want to use that. And Leaf has just a pen, obviously scaffold, landing page, and we get this. Already configured, so you can see it's respecting our logged in state and all of those annoying stuff. Yeah, we didn't actually give our application a name. So this is the part where we would usually change all of those. And then we have a pricing thing here. We would probably update this with some information. Go to dashboard. And since we have the paywall, if the user wasn't subscribed, we would see the paywall instead of the actual dashboard, which is also pretty cool. Yeah. So technically, this is what you get. I don't know if FAQs, if you get, no, I don't get FAQs. Sorry. But you get a landing page, which you can work with. And it kind of follows the rest of the theme, same theme for the dashboard. So, yeah, we have a landing page. Yeah, would usually want to customize this a lot more, but let's just say this is what we want for application. Okay, so next thing is, let's say application is going to be open for users in maybe just a tiny area, because they're actually selling something, and we want to make sure we can kind of like track all of that stuff. So let's just say like beta testers, stuff like that. We would use what do you even call those? A wait list, right? That's what I was looking for. A wait list, and Leaf also has that for you, so you can scaffold a wait list with PHP Leaf scaffold wait list, and that does all of this wait list stuff, creates tables so you can keep track of user emails and all of that. And then funny enough, you also get middleware for the wait list. So actually I don't need to log out for this. Yeah, I mean right now I can still access every single part of my application because I am logged in, so there's really nothing holding me back. By the way, waitlist generates a waitlist page, but then the cool thing about Leaf scaffolds is Leaf scaffolds never override anything. So if you have a page which has the same name, path, all of that stuff as one of our scaffolds, it will just skip over it. So in this case, we didn't get a waitlist page, which looks like this, because we already have a landing page. So Leaf just assumes you know what you're doing, and it skips over that. But you still have access to is it home? I actually don't remember. What's I think that's like index or JSX in pages. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so this is, why does this have a space? That's kind of weird. I'm surprised we actually didn't shout it out. Anyway, yeah, so you still have access to the email collection component, and you can just import stuff, but I don't remember the name of the component, so we probably would have to search for that. in our file system. That's components, waitlist form, weird name to give it, waitlist form. The waitlist form, I can just import that, and I don't think it takes in any props. I'm currently logged in, so I won't see it, but if I log out, I immediately have it down here, and then I can, fill in an email like this, and this is added to our database, and then we can generate a code. So with this, you can't sign up because the waitlist middleware makes sure you can't access any page you're not supposed to access. In this case, pricing is one of those. But since pricing is a public page, we can exclude it by going to our waitlist middleware, which is also created by Leaf. This is no magic. It's done by Leaf because of that command. So we can just add it to the allowed parts over here. What was that? I think that was slash pricing. So we add this here, and we should be able to access pricing now. So yeah, this middleware is also in your application. You are free to modify it in any way you see fit. If there are any more conditions you want to add to this middleware, you can just do that here. This looks pretty hideous, but I mean, you'd never touch it anyway, so you can just forget about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that took longer than we promised, but in an hour, 30 minutes, we have a landing page, waitlist working, subscriptions. We've built our application, which allows us to buy something from somewhere or someone, and all of that stuff. Yeah, so I actually don't know if anyone would pay for this application, but yeah, that's kind of the SaaS. Um, yeah. So we pretty much used everything on this page, I think. We used scaffold auth for our dashboard, we used the landing page, used the billing, subscriptions, and single charge. What do you even call those? I call that billing on the fly, but I don't know what you call those, like charging once. Um, let's see, what else did we do? We used databases, schema files. We saw some of the fun new things here. Um, Yeah, but basically, this is our entire application. Um, yeah, looks like I'm running low on battery. Anyway, we're pretty much done anyway. So yeah, this is our final application, and I am going to put this um online so you can access it if you ever need something as a reference. Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, not exactly a production application, but it'll give you like a good idea of what to do if you need it. But yeah, that's it. That's our entire application. A bunch of models. These were created by Leaf. So if you find anything funny here, yeah, most of those were created by Leaf. Middle was created by Leaf. Some schema files were created by Leaf. Other controllers also created by Leaf. Pretty much all of these stuff. Um, if you are okay with the defaults, which we were for application, you probably never have to touch any of these files. We never opened auth, and we didn't open billing either. We've not opened profile. We've not touched waitlists. We touched the middleware because we wanted to exclude the route. But basically, if you're okay with the default, you don't have to do anything. You can just proceed with your application as usual. Um, what should we even call this? Like Leaf Marketplace? Marketplace. Dummy. Okay. Dummy marketplace with Leaf MVC plus. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be here. Create a repo. Okay. Um, let me just git remote add origin. Yeah. Git init gp truck first of it. Is there anything I need to do? Not really. Okay, so that has been uploaded, and yeah. Um, I don't know if anyone has any questions for me on anything we did here. Um, if you do, please just leave it in the comments and I'll take care of it. If not, well, what happened here? I hate this thing. I've actually forgotten how to fix it. Uh, totally. I think it was something to like get config. Yeah, there we go. Okay, should be good now. Yeah, so I'm also going to drop this link in here as a comment or something. Actually, don't know. I don't think this is where I should put it. But anyway, I'm going to leave the link over there, so you'd always have access to it. But yeah, that's basically what it looks like to build with Leaf MVC4. We are trying to make it the easiest way to build a SaaS product, and there's so much more stuff we're working on. So yeah, if you have anything which it looks like we didn't cover over here, you can always just reach out on Discord. We have a Discord community here. You can find the link on our documentation at leafphp.dev. Stay in touch on Twitter. Leave a like and a star on GitHub and all of that stuff. Pretty much it. That's basically what it looks like to build with Leaf. And if you are new to Leaf, if this is your first time hearing about Leaf, Leaf comes with different flavors. What you saw here is a full-blown MVC setup, but there's also a micro framework version, which gives you basically just this, and then you're free to do whatever you want. And then there's also this MVC setup for APIs. So basically, there is no one framework fits all with Leaf. You can customize Leaf so into whatever you want, basically. Yeah. So that's Leaf, and that's what building with Leaf looks like. That's what we've looked at. So since there are no more comments here, I am going to be ending the stream right now. It's past midnight time, and I'm not sleepy for whatever reason. But yeah, that was fun. We didn't meet our 1 hour timeline. But then we did it in an hour 30, which is also kind of pretty good. Yeah. So this should give you a rough idea of how to use some of our basic SaaS features. And if you have any more stuff, you can always just reach out on GitHub or open an issue on GitHub. I mean, on Discord, please. Or reach out on Discord, open up a GitHub issue, stuff like that. Okay, still nothing. So I will catch you guys next week. We have weekly hangouts every week, every Friday. This time was late, but it's usually around 5 p.m. GMT. UTC. I forgot we no longer use GMT. But anyway, have a great weekend, and I will catch you guys next week. See you all.